Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale. The tale of an untold trip that started on a West African port aboard an old slave ship. The mate was a mighty racist man. The skipper was too, I'm sure. 5 slave traders set sail that day on a transatlantic tour. On a transatlantic tour. The Africans rose up when they had enough. That old slave ship was tossed. If not for the courage of a fearless few, where freedom would be lost, where freedom would be lost. The ship crashed down on the shore of this uncharted Caribbean isle, and we killed Gilligan. The skipper too cut up the millionaire and him wife. Shot the movie star, blah, 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 Professor and Marianne, here on Liberation Isle. Thank you. And I want to say thank you for give a big round of applause for everybody who helped to organize today and make today possible. Everybody made a long trip to get here. I know some of us did, all right? I will tell y'all a little bit about that, but I want to start off first and foremost with something that I think y'all will have a little fun with, because I want y'all to have fun. I want y'all to relax and just, you know, enjoy yourselves. Kick back. We're in the living room now, just hanging out and just talking about stuff that matters to us. So I want to start off with that deep, philosophical, insightful piece of popular culture known to us as Gilligan's Island. Gilligan's Island. Profound metaphor for so much, and I think it will be useful to start off there today. Great friend of mine, a colleague back in Brooklyn by the name of Jose Sanchez, wrote a great book called Boricua Power and talks a lot about power. We're going to continue to talk about power and what it means in the classroom because it's oftentimes the elephant in the middle of the room that we don't deal with, we don't address. But today, we're definitely going to address it. So, Gilligan's Island. Before they raise your hand if you remember Gilligan's Island. All right, I know. All right, if you don't know about Gilligan's Island, your assignment tonight is to go check it on YouTube because it is on YouTube. But before they got on the ship, y'all remember the characters. All right, I want to talk about who was the most powerful of all the characters on Gilligan's Island before they even got on the boat, just on dry land before they went on their 3-hour tour. You know, if we think about power as the ability to shape reality for ourselves and for others, all right? Poder means to be able to, right? All right. Who had the most power? Who had the greatest ability to shape their reality for themselves and for others before they got on the actual boat? The skipper, Mr. Howe. Why Mr. Howe? We're gonna. He had money. He was a millionaire, right? So what? Some folks would say that his wife probably had more power than he did, right? but that's up for debate. But if we say Thurston Howell III was powerful because he had millions, let's just lay it out plain. What does money enable you to do in this society? What does it enable you to do? Why are you powerful if you have lots of money?
Because you can buy an election. Oh.
You can buy an election. Yeah, you go to Dubai, you can buy a country, right? You know, what else? What else? Control, okay? So money has a certain degree of power, all right? Now they get on the ship, all right? They get on the ship. They're on the boat. The storm hits. It starts rocking and shaking. And not just because it's an uprising. I wrote that piece in response to Amistad because I was so upset that Steven Spielberg, who did a brilliant job with Schindler's List, the girl in the red dress and the black and white bodies, I mean, amazing. I was moved. But when he did Amistad, translated everything the Europeans said in the opening scene of the takeover, the mutiny, right? And nothing that the Africans said. I was like, who's this movie about? So I was a little upset that inspired that piece. But on the Gilligan's Island ship, that's a little segue, on the Gilligan's Island ship, who is now the most powerful person on the ship in the middle of the storm? The skipper. You said skipper originally. Why the skipper? Tell us why. Ron?
He was in control of the boat. He was the quote-unquote leader. That's why.
Excellent, excellent. He was in control of the boat. He had the skill set. He had the know-how. He knew how to deal with, you know, most storms, right? This was an exceptionally hard storm to hit them that day. But he's the guy everybody's looking to for leadership. Excellent, okay? Now, the millionaire with his big money bags, is he the most powerful person anymore?
No.
Why not? What happened? What happened to his power? In the storm?
He has no money. control the storm.
Exactly, and if you saw Titanic, right, where people trying to hold on to all they got, they might have to throw his ass off the ship if he tries to hold on to his money bags, right? Okay, so we know things change once the storm hit. Now, the boat crashes, all right, deserted, they're stranded on this island. They're stuck on this island. They don't know what's going on, where they are. They don't see anybody for quite some time, till later episodes, right? But who now is the most powerful person in this group of people? Is it still the skipper? Not the skipper, the professor. Why the professor? He's smart because he can make radios out of coconuts, right? The skipper can't do that, all right? The millionaire can't go to Radio Shack. There's no Radio Shack, right? You know, he's not getting, his iPhone is not connecting, right? You know, connected, disconnected, connected, disconnected, connected. It's not working, all right? So now we see we have the professor, who is not the most powerful person on the ship, probably not the most powerful person in society before they got on the boat, but now he's the most powerful person. Who might be the second most powerful person there? The movie star. Was she really powerful at some point? Where does she have the most power? Where does the movie star have the most power in all of this? So
She played a middleman.
kind of a middleman, all right? But before they got on the ship, she was famous, right? And what did her fame give her power to do? How did her fame make her powerful? Influence, all right? Yeah, okay. She, you know, Denzel Washington gets up on TV and says, kids, listen, stay in school, don't do drugs. Are kids going to listen to him more than George Bush? Probably, all right? So there's a certain amount of influence, a certain amount of power that comes with fame. Is that going to help her on this island? Hell no, you better go and fetch water like everybody else, all right? I don't care how famous you are, it's not helping me out, all right? I don't want your autograph, I want some water, all right? So this allegory, in short, is a powerful metaphor that helps me to think about the classroom space. Because the classroom space is a powerful space, all right? And codes of power are enacted on a daily basis, all right? And oftentimes, and I see this especially in the case of Rikers Island with the young folks there, young folks in Brooklyn, in the high schools where I've done work there. But Rikers in particular, you know, kids, high school students, teenagers don't want to be in high school. Nobody wants to be in prison, so these young people doubly don't want to be there, right? Community of 14,000 people, largest prison colony in the world, 4,000 to 5,000 are teenagers any given year. So they come from a place of being very powerful in their communities, very often, all right? You know, I said to this one kid, why did you rent a red SUV to move the coke from New York to Florida? A red SUV? Like, was that, I mean, we couldn't even get into like the morality issue, right? It was just like, that was not a good move, you know? So, but, you know, oftentimes the young folks who are there for a range of reasons, all right, are there and are treated as if they are nothing. Like oftentimes in our classroom, we treat young people like they're illiterate, like they're ignorant, like they don't know anything. And if I'm treated as if somebody who's very powerful in my community, then I come into your classroom and you treat me as if I have absolutely none of the assets that I initially had, how is that going to make me feel about you in your classroom? All right? Not that you have to be entirely deferential to the codes of power that are in my community, but you have to be cognizant, you have to be aware that they do exist. All right? And these things change. And if you want them to respect the codes of power that you're going to be talking about in your classroom, you have to acknowledge them before they get there.